I don't even know where to begin with this one. I'm going to go ahead and introduce to you guys a couple of people that I think are absolutely out of their mind. Now, before I start this video, I want to go ahead and just give a quick shout out to Sydney Watson, who talked about this issue first. And she made a fantastic video about this. So I highly recommend you guys check her video out. It's an absolute great watch. So let's go ahead and begin with these people. So let's start off with Bonnie Blue. I'm sure you guys have heard of her, but just in case you guys haven't, this is what she looks like. And she's an OnlyFans model.
Is one of the most controversial people online.
25-year-old Bonnie Blue from Derbyshire is making headlines around the world for filming herself having sex with teenagers and posting the footage online.
No. You don't even have to go clean your ears for that, okay? I guarantee you heard that correctly. She said teenage boys. I'm not kidding, man. Now, it's a bit misleading because she said teenage boys, although technically it is true, but it's barely legal adults. Okay, so that means that these are teens in their 18, 19 years of age. Okay, and it's absolutely mind-blowing how she sees this entire situation. And I'm talking about Bonnie Blue's perspective. The way she sees this is that she's educating these men.
You've used the word educate quite a lot.
100%.
Are you educating just yourself? Are you educating these people who are in their teens and, again, 18 and upwards?
So I'm still learning every day, but my content is educational to those that I'm sleeping with and those that are watching it.
I'm actually interested in the course. So how much does the textbook cost? No, okay, seriously. Imagine a timeout. You like go sit in the corner, and instead of facing the wall, you gotta face them. The punishment is being a cuck. Now, I kind of question to myself, is this really the most effective way to teach someone about sex ed? I mean, probably, because if you take a course in school, it's most likely going to be about the textbook. And the teacher's going to be talking about theory. But in this course, it's hands-on experience. I don't really know if she really does mean that or not, because some of the things that she say it makes me want to laugh. Like, for instance, she said that one of the reasons, because there's many reasons, but one of the reasons why she does this content the way she does is because she wants to be more relatable.
Right, you have a very specific niche, don't you?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So barely legal, 18-year-olds. Because as I started my content, I realised it was not necessarily relatable to the average person. And I wanted to make my content relatable. I'm just a girl, I'm relatable, I'm sort of the girl next door vibes.
What exactly does that fucking mean? I have no idea, man. What do you mean relatable, the girl next door? I don't know about you guys, but I've never had a neighbor like her. Because if I did, I'd probably most likely have a corrupted mind because of her. Because I just can't imagine walking out of her house with a diploma and just thinking to myself like, yeah, I'm educated on this now. I did find a clip where she elaborates a little more on this idea, because genuinely I am curious to know what she means by this. This is her on the Whatever podcast.
Well, I think, like, personally, when people lose their virginity, it's usually terrible. Like, I gave them a very good experience.
A good sexual, experience.
For sure. And not only that, like, it was so relatable. Like, because the reason I started doing that in the first place is, like, when I started watching porn, it wasn't relatable. Like, I was like, when I have sex for the first time, it is not going to be nothing like that.
You want to know what the crazy thing is? That unfortunately, I can see where she's coming from, because I do have, or had, a couple of people that I knew that actually thought that what they saw in prawn videos was real. However, in her case, I don't know if she truly believes this. I really do think that this is a marketing tool. But it's crazy how these OnlyFans models will try to attract you. I mean, like, just recently, Lily Phillips, she ended up talking about how she wants to, like, do, like, 1,000 men. Bro, that makes people curious, both men and women, not just men. But with this case, it's particularly different. You know why? Because she hinges on the title, which is barely legal teens. And the thing is that she supposedly tries to make it seem like the media said it, but in reality, she's using this term because she knows that that phrase has a terrible connotation, which is obviously going to rile up people and most likely going to get people talking. Now, the next person that I want to show you guys is a former OnlyFans content creator by the name of Nala Ray. And this particular person used to do content because, according to her, she was deprived from touch or any sort of sentimental value. And she summarizes a bit of her trauma on the Lecrae podcast, which you should definitely go watch that episode. Trust me, it's a little hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie. I did have a hard time because she's so bubbly. The personality was just not for me. I was not vibing with it. But she does mention a couple of things where I think to myself, like, you know what if these two content creators, Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue, are exhibiting? So let me go ahead and show you guys a little bit of how she sees herself as a content creator, or how she used to see herself as a content creator when it came to interacting with her fans.
And that girl you're talking to, you have a relationship with her online. You know,
Sheesh.
It's not like just a porn star you're watching on a screen and there it happens and it ends. It's like, oh, I'm building a relationship with this girl, but you're not. She could care less about you. I'm telling you that right.
Crazy.
She doesn't give a fat F about you. She's like, give me that bag. You know what I'm saying? I've heard so many girls say this. And I was like that at one point too. I did not care at all. I was like, you're paying
It's
me,
just a
man.
transaction.
Keep it coming.
And if you're one of those doubters that will fall back onto the messages and say, oh, well, at least she still messages me, then hold on tight, because this one is going to rip off your Band-Aid in one go.
After you have like 100,000 subscribers, you're not messaging them anymore.
Wow.
You got people messaging them for you.
That's right. You're a puppet, man. You're a puppet with strings that are all tangled up. And not to mention, you're also a puppet that was made in China. Nah, I'm just kidding. No, shout out to my Chinese man. But seriously speaking though, if you really do believe that one content creator is speaking to more than like what? When you watch her live, she has about like 2,000 people watching her live. You're competing with 2,000 other people that are also trying to get her attention, that probably have the same mindset you do. Now, the reason why I bring up Nala is because I really want you guys to get a good understanding of who exactly is it that you're messaging behind the screen, okay? Because oftentimes you guys see OnlyFans women, but the thing is that most people don't really know who this person is. And Nala is no exception. Oftentimes people don't know who she is behind the screen, but in this podcast with Lecrae, she ends up describing exactly what went on in her life that led up to her being an OnlyFans content creator. So just listen to the way she describes her father, because how she describes her father really gives an idea as to just how important the fatherly role is. In this small clip that I'm about to demonstrate to you guys, she talks about how when she was much younger, probably in her teens, like 14, 15, her father ended up leaving the family. And when she ends up meeting with him once again in Mexico, because he ended up moving far away from the family, it just wasn't the same anymore.
So my dad wasn't living, he was living in Mexico. So he completely just like left. It wasn't like a couple states away or maybe a couple minutes away. It was like, dude, you're gone. We cannot see you unless we get on a plane to see you.
Yeah.
So we went actually one time to go see him in Mexico, and he was just like, didn't even feel like my dad. It was weird, like very different person.
Yep. And when you don't have a fatherly role in the family, the kids tend to kind of act up and start experimenting because there is no moral guidance. And when an absentee father or even an absentee mother isn't present to connect with their child, unfortunately, you have to rely, or that parent has to rely solely on the superficial aspects of her kid. As in this case, where he didn't have a connection with his daughter, so he didn't know how she felt. So when Nala told her father that she was quitting OnlyFans, he impeded her growth by telling her to stay on OnlyFans.
When I finally decided to follow Christ, I called my dad. My husband was right next to me. And I was like, hey, Dad, I'm getting off of OnlyFans. Like, blah, blah, blah. I was so excited. He was like, well, why don't you just stay on another year and a half and like make more money and, like settle yourself in? Because, it's really expensive right now. And I'm like, did you really just tell me to stay on OnlyFans? Like, did you really just say that to your daughter? Did you really just tell me to continue making porn?
Remember how at the beginning of the video I told you that I was going to introduce you guys to some crazy people? Well, it's not so much Nala, but the father that is like out of this world. And if you take a listen to that podcast, you're going to see what I'm talking about, because it's not just the only thing that he's done that's just very unbelievably questionable. It's so many more actions that like have just costed him and his relationship with his daughter. I mean, like, the dude is going to prison.
My dad is actually facing a prison sentence right now.
Unbelievable. But that's what happens when the fatherly role is absent, or even the motherly role too as well. I've read online as well that the motherly role is absolutely important as well. But this is one of the consequences. At the end of the day, man, fathers are absolutely important when it comes to family structure. Otherwise, you're going to have either a daughter or a son that is going to potentially be misled in life. Like, for instance, men purchasing OnlyFans content. Hopefully this gave you guys just a bit of insight into who exactly is it that you guys are subscribing to. Is it the worst thing that a man can do, subscribe to an OnlyFans account? No, it's not. At least I know for a fact that men are not out here purchasing sweat from a woman.
She graduated from university, and Alexia quickly grew tired of her minimum wage barista job, much as she loved it. So she stopped selling coffee and started selling her own sweat.
You know what, man? I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it here. That's really all I have for you guys. Yeah, I'll see you guys next video.